Welcome to Cognis Group Future in Focus Reports. My name is Jess Garrettson. Thank you for listening. Today's report is brought to you by Bill's blog on TechCast. Subscribe to the newsletter at billhalal.com. Today's topic is superbugs. Are they the next pandemic? The coronavirus is a brutal reminder that deadly bugs are evolving continuously into more powerful and invasive forms in order to propagate themselves, as all life does. This raises a tough question. What's next? We should be wary that superbugs are now making just this type of aggressive advance as they develop resistance to our overuse of antibiotic medicines. If antibiotics stop working, medicine will return to the 19th century when people routinely died of a minor cut, burn, or medical procedure. That may be coming as bacterial infections increasingly resist antibiotics and superbugs are evolving that can survive all antibiotic treatments. One study noted at the right estimates that by 2050, some 10 million people could die each year and cost the global economy 60 to 100 trillion. The reasons include overprescribing of antibiotics, patients' failure to take their full prescription, leaving the strongest bugs to breed, and especially the use of low-dose antibiotics to stimulate growth in farm animals. There are no known cures for drug-resistant infections, and few new antibiotics are coming down the pipeline. Other treatments are in the works, but it could be years before they become available. In the meantime, hospitals lose patients to uncontrollable infections, and periodic outbreaks of drug-resistant disease are becoming a major public health concern. UK Chief Medical Officer Dame Sally Davies calls drug-resistant bacteria a serious global threat. The World Health Organization emphasized a post-antibiotic era in which common infections and minor injuries can kill is a very real possibility. Without urgent action, we're heading for a post-antibiotic era in which common infections and minor injuries can once again kill. Here are some trends driving resistance. Antibiotic resistance is caused by a number of unsafe health practices and conditions that have encouraged the problem. In some countries, antibiotics are available over the counter without a prescription. Farm animals are fed antibiotics to promote growth. Animals in close quarters are an ideal breeding ground. Drug-resistant bugs have been found in pigs, chickens, rabbits, birds, and even pets. Superbugs were once confined to hospitals and nursing homes, but the use of widespread air travel has created outbreaks in healthy people. Hotel rooms often test positive for drug-resistant bacteria. Superbugs are found in sewage plants where effluent is treated for use in irrigation and as fertilizer. They survive purification, so even high levels are found in dewatered sludge used as fertilizer. Some antibiotics are more prone to drug resistance. Overall, 23,000 people die each year of antibiotic resistance in the U.S. alone. The U.S. CDC already lists multiple drug-resistant diseases as one of the biggest threats to medicine. The World Health Organization estimates that multi-drug-resistant tuberculosis accounts for more than 650,000 deaths annually. Infections caused by an antibiotic-resistant strain of E. coli have undergone a dramatic increase since 2008. Scientists recently learned that the deadliest infections, which kill 20 to 40% of patients, are caused by the same fast-growing strain of bacteria around the world. Parasites that caused malaria long ago learned to survive chloroquine, and they are becoming resistant to artemisinin, the drug of choice, and there are few replacements in the pipeline. There are new antibacterials being developed. Fortunately, preventative measures are being implemented in various ways. Advances are being made in developing alternatives, but the pace is slow. Only 30 or so drugs are in trials compared to hundreds under development for cancer. Here are the programs underway. Making drugs more potent. Preliminary results show that modifying existing antibiotics, such as vancomycin, can make them up to 25,000 times more potent. Immune booster. Researchers have found a drug that mimics a harmless virus and helps the body fight off antibiotic-resistant bacteria. Mass UV exposure. One plan to diminish infection is to massively deploy UVC lights in operating theaters, food preparation areas, schools, and other locations of high risk. UVC can kill viruses and bacteria but cannot penetrate the skin and is thus less harmful to humans than other forms of UV. The practical challenges are enormous at a scale to be effective, and prolonged exposure has been shown to damage the eyes. Quantum dots. Scientists have tailored particles 1/20,000th the size of a human hair to kill drug-resistant infections without harm to the patient. That technique is suited for the treatment of infected cuts and of systemic infections, which can be especially hard to cure. Phage therapy. Doctors experimented with phage therapy, which uses viruses that naturally destroy bacteria to eliminate infection. One bacteriophage specifically targets Clostridium difficile, which kills some 14,000 hospital patients in the U.S. each year. Possible improvements include using only selected parts of the phage for therapy and genetically engineering phages to target specific infections. New drug discoveries. Advances are leading to a new generation of drugs that tackle infections resistant to antibiotics. An Australian team's discovery of the structure of the masking protein responsible for the resistance is hailed as a breakthrough. The World Health Organization, WHO, has helped all members of the UN to form plans to combat antibiotic resistance. They recently announced a list of all pathogens posing the greatest threat. The U.S. government. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration asked drug companies to stop using antibiotics on farm animals, ban triclosan for consumer antiseptic washes, and they've asked task forces for new drug development. The U.S. Centers of Disease Control has an antimicrobial resistant program and response teams. And finally, Big Pharma. 85 pharmaceutical companies have pledged to work together to combat drug resistance. A major approach is developing new business models that encourage innovation, like awarding big prizes for new antibiotics. Here's the most likely forecast. 1/3 of the global population carries drug-resistant germs on their skin or in their nostrils. Outbreaks of Klebsiella, Salmonella, Shigella, and E. coli have risen fourfold over 10 years, and resistance is spreading from animals to humans in China. In the U.S. alone, 2 million people contract serious drug-resistant infections each year. 23,000 die. Another 25,000 die in Europe. Various studies estimate antimicrobial resistance to cost the economy globally between $2 trillion and $100 trillion by 2050. A WHO analysis of 114 countries found very high rates of resistant infections across all regions, including alarming rates in many parts of the world. A new WHO initiative, Global Antimicrobial Surveillance System, or GLASS, has revealed widespread antibiotic resistance levels across 22 countries. In some countries, as many as 82% of patients with a bloodstream infection has bacteria resistant to at least one of the most commonly used antibiotics. TechCast estimates a high probability of about 55% that superbugs will break out in a few decades, and they think the social impact will be severe. Here are some strategic implications. Drug-resistant superbugs could bring new opportunities for makers of disinfectants and related hardware and services. For example, a company called Xenix Disinfection Services secured $11.3 million in investor funding to make high-powered UV lights used to disinfect whole rooms, and they are now being deployed in various hospitals. The effects of widespread superbugs would be devastating to healthcare systems, spread incurable disease, and savage economies. If antibiotic resistance spreads out of control, people will routinely die as they did in previous centuries of untreatable infections after only minor medical care and everyday cuts, burns, and scrapes. Medical facilities would be overwhelmed with untreatable patients. Drug-resistant infections cost the U.S. healthcare system more than $20 billion annually, in part because patients require more than 8 million extra hospital days. Here's to hoping more companies get involved and drug-resistant antibiotics are no longer the threat that they are today. Thank you for listening today. For more information on this report or other custom research, please contact us at info@cognisgroup.com. or more directly in the U.S. at 1-303-709-3157 and outside the states at 44-1904-435-190. Thank you again. Here's a little more information about Cognis Group. We provide foresight research via custom reports, as well as an online subscription featuring topics across a broad list of industries. Our work makes your life easier by providing rigorous detail across a limitless number of resources, resulting in a comprehensive snapshot to help keep you on top of your game on the trends and technologies that will impact you the most. Our timeline horizon reveals impactors not just tomorrow, but those you should be considering more than a decade from today.